This is Dabu7. We have reports out of Australia that the skies are turning blood red, and this is due to this disastrous brush fire, so to speak, that's breaking loose in different regions. And I know that there's a lot of speculation as to what's going on behind the fires. We really have no evidence pointing at any one thing, but people are saying that some of these circumstances are highly suspect. But this region has been seeing fires for years now, and this Malakuta is seeing it very bad. This is in the East Gippsland region of Victoria. Now I'm going to scroll down here. It's so bad you can see the plume of smoke way off in the distance. That's from Melbourne storm chasers. Now when we get down here, you see these images. It says that this was a frightening day as the people in Malakuta were preparing to enter the water to avoid the fire. So people that had stayed behind and that were in this region on land there, doesn't say that they had boats or anything. It just said that they were prepared to enter the water. A lot of people have their goods sitting on the ground here on the beach line. This is kind of crazy because people that have fled their homes that don't have boats or any way out, all they could do is basically get as much of their stuff down here on the beach line where there's no trees, and it's piled up in this region. That's what you're seeing here. The only other option they got if the fire gets any closer is to go into the water. So that's the situation there. Prayers going out to everyone having to deal with that situation. I will continue to update as I find out more.
Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because that's where I learned the truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahweh, so the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh. And pretty much what's going on in Australia is you have a lot of wildfires just like California. Now, nobody's not pointing a finger with California and asking the question, where the hell all the wildfires coming from? Obviously, it's coming from an aerial view. All right, a wildfire is not just going to be started and kill, a bunch of animals and destroy ecosystems with just like a match, or, you throwing a cigarette on the ground. Obviously, there's some type of space weapon that's being used. It could be HARP, it can be some type of, satellite or something that's being used to burn, these trees, just like the Amazon forest. All right, nobody's not really questioning nothing. Nobody's not pointing the finger, and they're not talking about this on the news. All right, so what's going on in Australia is the same thing. You have wildfires, you have animals dying, you have ecosystems being destroyed, and what it did is it's turning and it's destroying the atmosphere. All right, so what happened is, as you can see from the title, it says sky turns blood red in Australia as massive fire sweeps the region. Now, I mainly want to focus on, signs in the sky and, the blood moons, because everything is recorded in the scriptures. Every event that happens on the planet Earth is found in the Bible. There's no other book you can read that's going to explain the type of events that play out on the planet Earth. So based off of what you heard in the video and what Dabu77 was explaining is the fact that there's photos and videos coming out of Malakuta, Australia on Tuesday morning, shows the sky had turned a dark glowing red as out of control bushfires move in on the small town in the East Gippsland region of Victoria. So nobody's not questioning where all these fires actually coming from, but we know who the fires are coming from. Now this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And that's something that Christians don't really do. Christians don't know how to read the Bible, link current events up with biblical prophecy. You might have somebody that tells you they believe in God, but do they believe in God according to what's actually written in the book? And the question is no. Yeah, Christianity might have 1 billion followers, a couple 100 million followers, but they don't believe according to the Bible, and that's the problem. By us brothers in the truth that know who we are, what do? We measure the time diligently by what? Reading news articles, paying attention to the news, and linking the current events up with the scriptures to know what type of time period we're living in. And the type of time period we're living in is the end times. And when thou seest part of the signs past, what signs? The end times that was spoken by the way of our forefathers and the ancient prophets, which I have told thee before. Because how does the Lord speak? According to Luke 1:70, through the mouth of his prophets. Verse 2, then thou shalt understand, meaning the brothers in the truth, thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Because a lot of people, they don't even understand the creation story. They don't understand that it was the Messiah that really created everything. The God of Israel gave him the blueprint, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, created everything, along with the elect of the nation of Israel. Because if you ask somebody, who is the elect? Well, the elect are the first spirits created that's been predestinated since the world began. And those are going to be the ones that's going to receive salvation, the ones that help create the earth. All right? So that's who the elect is, the ones that's exempt from judgment. What judgment? The destruction of Babylon the Great, which is America and worldwide. All right, that's going to be saved. That's going to receive salvation by the way of the so-called UFOs, which are the chariots of Israel. All right, not some strange phenomenon that we don't know what it is. Verse 3, it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, there's earthquakes every single day. All right, and uproars of the people in the world. Right, different race riots, different race wars. All right, people constantly protesting. Verse 4, then thou shalt well understand. What does it mean that thou shalt well understand? It's meaning that we're going to understand this is what was written and what was spoken of by the mouth of the prophets. You see, we actually living and we're seeing the proof. Because you have a lot of people, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Bible. Well, that's cool if you don't believe, but the evidence is right in your face and we see it. That's why it says, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Because who was the first recorded prophet, as we know, was Enoch. And the scriptures tell you in the book of Jude how Enoch prophesied that the Lord was going to come with tens of thousands. So even the ancient prophets understood that we was going to need the Messiah, because the nation of Israel is stiff-necked and is stubborn. They like following the way of the heathen. Just look at them today. Verse 4, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end. The end is manifest. And what's the end of the world? Is the end of the world talking about the whole entire earth being blown up? No, because the scriptures tell you that what? The earth abideth forever. The end of the world is talking about the downfall of the Edomite Empire, their power on the planet Earth, which is slowly being destroyed to the point where there's going to be a global economic collapse. There's going to be a stock market crash. The US dollar is going to be completely worthless. These are the type of times that we're coming into. And the fact that Donald Trump ordered that US airstrike, which killed that top Iranian general, that's just making shit worse. But the elect of the nation of Israel is happy about that. Why? Because we know that this is what the prophet seen in different visions, and we know that the Lord is getting ready to come back. So those are good precepts, but that's pretty much it for that. This is Luke 21 and 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, right? Different solar eclipses, and in the moon, right? Blood moons, different, blue moons, super moons, and in the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud. The cloud is talking about the so-called UFO. When the Messiah comes back, he's coming back with a big so-called UFO. All right? With power and great glory. Because when he came the first time, he came lowly, riding on an ass, which is a donkey, you know? And now when he comes back, he's going to come back with power and great glory because he did the will of his Father. He remained loyal to the will of his Father. Verse 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads. Who has it talk about? Israel. Because we the ones that need a Savior, for your redemption draweth nigh. So all these different events that's playing out on the planet Earth is letting the elect of the nation of Israel know that what? That our redemption draweth nigh. Revelation 6 and 12, and I beheld, now this is John a Revelator, I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal. So we're in between the sixth and seventh seal. And lo, there was a great earthquake. Talking about that thermonuclear, destruction. And the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became as blood. And these are the type of times we're living in. Solar eclipses every year. Solar eclipses. All right, blood moon sightings. This is what the prophet seen. They wanted to know when the kingdom of heaven was going to come, but they didn't understand that they was going to have to die and come back reincarnated. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 30, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. This is what we're literally seeing this. Matthew 13 and 17, for verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them. So you're supposed to be happy that the Lord is revealing and showing you that what? His word is true. That what the prophet seen is true. That you have this truth. You should be happy about that. You shouldn't be getting weak. You shouldn't be doubting the Lord if you're in the truth. And to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. Because you had prophets, the main one that comes to mind is Jonah. All right? Jonah wanted to see the destruction of Nineveh, but those Assyrians at that time, they repented. And he was mad because Nineveh wasn't destroyed at that particular time. But eventually Nineveh was destroyed. All right? Let you know that what? Isaiah 55:11, the words of the Lord, they don't go out void. So hopefully this was edifying. Shalom.